we are discussing Asante Kotoko's issue. So on Wednesday, news broke that Asante Kotoko head coach Prosper Ogum, or Dr. Prosper Ogum, who had led them to their first league title since 2013-2014, had decided to step away from his role. I mean, that's very unheard of, because typically you've qualified a team for Africa. You'd want to take the team to Africa and see what you can get out of them. But following that particular resignation, a lot has been made about it. A lot of things have been said. We have somebody on the phone lines to give us some perspective to everything that's been going on, because it seems as if there really is a lot going on. Collins Atta Poku is joining us from Kumasi with Sumpa. I think it's Sumpa FM. Yeah, Sumpa FM. Collins. Good evening and welcome to Sports Panorama, Collins.
Good evening, Ben. Thanks for having me. My regards to everybody in there.
Brilliant. I'm sure we're all happy to hear from you. Let's quickly delve into the Asante Kotoko issues and let's get some perspective. So we are hearing two different sides of a story, where there's a side that paints the picture of Ogum, the victim, and there's a side that paints the picture of the board and the technical team as the victim in all of this. But just give us a clear picture, right? I mean, for those of us sitting on the sidelines, we didn't know that a lot of this was happening. We've heard that there was a rift between him and management on players. There was unpaid salaries, a lot of allegations flying around. First of all, from where you sit, where you are, did you ever get the sense that Prosper was going to resign? And if you did, what were the indicators for you?
Well, thank you very much, Benjamin. And let me quickly state unequivocally that Prosper has not been a happy man for some time. And all these appearances in public and all the praise he was showering on the CEO, he also had resentment attached to it. These are very normal with human establishment and people and their relationships. One of the things that we have observed in Kumasi is that Prosper is that glue that sticks every fiber of Kotoko together. The fans love him, Obenfo. The former players are going to him, Obenfo. The players love playing for him, Obenfo. The management also like the coach they got because he's delivering and he's the standard for everybody. His dressing, his demeanor, the way he goes about the play, so everything is perfect outside. But the catch you did affect that he had to juggle staying true to himself and helping the club to win the league, and then also trying to be the main man who is not happy and has to tell people that I'm not happy. So there are difficulties.
Now you talk about
our very first indicator right before but one game before they went to Takwa. The last game before they went to Takwa, he substituted Namankuna, who was angry and was saying all sort of stuff on his way out of the pitch. On Monday, he didn't go to training. They called. He said he had a neck problem, and they told him to come and see the medical staff who would help. He didn't come. Kotoko went to Takwa with 17 players. They had to go to the hospital and get Yusuf Mubarak to make it 8. When they got to Takwa, his case worsened. He had to be put on drip, and then they came back to Kumasi. He wanted to reprimand Amankuna, and people within management wouldn't allow him to do that. So he was going way and frustrated at the same time.
Very interesting thoughts there. Let's talk about the individual components of some of the things that supposedly made him unhappy. Now, one of the first things I heard that baffled me was the fact that he has not been paid for a while now. I've seen reports say 6 months. I've seen some say 4 months. I picked up the fact that he earns $4,000 per month. First of all, can you confirm the amount for us? And can you also confirm for us if these salary arrears issues are actually true?
Yes, he takes $4,000. And yes, he's old.
But, I mean, was that a problem for Prosper? Is that one of the reasons why he eventually decided to pull the trigger?
The players were owed salary and bonuses. The administrative staff at the Secretariat have gone 4 to 5 months without salary. None of them have resigned. All these things are issues that have come to the fore because of this very impasse playing out in public. There's a real issue which is what he calls irreconcilable differences with members of management. That is, working environment is toxic, and then the relationship has broken down. Let's put all the English aside.
Collins, just slow down for me a little. Let me get some detail out of you. When you say the environment had become toxic. You definitely have painted the Stephen Amankona picture, but what else can you tell us? I mean, you also alluded to the fact that a lot of these are regular relationships or regular things that every working environment endures. When you say toxic environment especially, what exactly do you mean?
Well, yeah, Edu is a member of the board of Asante Kotoko. Today he's granted an interview in Kumasi and told the entire world that Ogum would meet the board as well as Saraya Amponsa would also meet the board on Monday. Why? Because they know for a fact that the coach and the CEO have a very bad relationship. It's broken down and they would need to settle the impasse between the two. And that if Prosper decides that he's going to go, then they would bless him and tell him to go. So the board member has actually nailed it for us.
That's a very interesting proposition. But we also know that in Kumasi and when it comes to Kotoko, the great king, Otunfo, always has to bless a decision or otherwise. How is his court taking in all of this? Because nothing happens without Nana knowing and nothing happens without his blessing or otherwise. So how is he taking in all of this?
Well, we actually not heard from him that the board has released a memo today stating that they've just heard on radio and read on social media spaces and traditional media spaces that the coach says he's resigned. As far as they are concerned, nothing of that sort has happened, and that they are going to meet on Monday, the CEO and then the coach. So if you look at it carefully, the Asante decided to appoint a board, which in turn appointed a management. The board's position obviously is the Asante's position because I'm pretty sure the chief executive officer of Menshia Palace, Kofi Bedu, has spoken to the king and is directed him to direct the board that, look, you guys should do A, B, C, and D for me quickly. And that's why they are meeting on Monday. So the board member, Yawedu, has actually painted the picture clearly for all of us on traditional media space here in Kumasi today.
Two more questions before you go. First one is about the issue of disagreements between Prosper and management on player transfers and recruitments. We hear that the board and management were not too pleased with some of his recruitment choices ahead of the next campaign, whereas he was not pleased with some of his key players that were being allowed to leave and stuff like that. Can you substantiate any of that for us?
Yeah, these things did happen, but they've been blown out of proportion by people who are trying to seek positive PR in the media space. Prosper submitted a list of 10 players who were to be put on transfer and then put across a list of 17 that he would want. Now, in that list, he did not state that he wanted all those 17. He actually says that get 10 out of these 17 for me. So you pick, for instance, centre back. In that list, he has Henry Ansu from Chelsea, and then he has Knedu Adam from Wafa. In attack, he has Yawano there. We all know Yawano is in Egypt. He has Jonah Tukwe there. But what came out was that he had actually told them that he wanted the Tezuta. But we know from that list that if a midfielder is there and is the one he really wants to it is Sobela from Accra Lions. So I can tell you from that angle that Tekezuta's name is not even on that list. But now the picture painted outside is that, oh, he wants 17 when he actually wants 10 to replace them. So, I mean, which same person would put 10 on transfer and request for 17? There would always be these disagreements. They've always had them. When they were bringing in Dixon Afuakwa, Adomako, and Safu Taylor, he wasn't so pleased because he felt there are others there who could be trusted to do the work. But the coach also went out of his way to insist that they sign Amankuna for him. So these things always happen. And because of positive PR and people seeking to be good in the eyes of the public, everybody is here saying stuff. The disagreements came up. Even Etuga Mbella, who was their top scorer and their most prized asset carrying, when he was coming, there were disagreements of him coming. But it didn't play out in the public space. So when you have the administrative manager of the team going to no other outlet but graphic to tell them that the coach has indeed resigned, indicated that he wants to resign, and that he asked them to sign 17 players. And then the board comes out to say that nothing of that sort happened and they were all in the same meeting. And it's the Kotoko ugly politics that has taken charge currently.
Finally, before you go, I mean, the input I'm getting from all that you've said is that despite us discussing passionately that Prosper has resigned, the club's official position is that he is still on their books and that he hasn't resigned. Am I getting you right?
Yes, as it stands, Kotoko has not even issued any communique on that. Secondly, the management members briefed press in Kumasi that nobody should say Prosper. They are still talking to Prosper to change his mind. When the thing started yesterday and today.
But that's two conflicting bits of information.
Absolutely. And then the board, which is the highest decision-making body, says that, look, that's not enough. And Edu goes to say that, look, there is a problem between the CEO and the coach, and you are meeting them on Monday.
What do you personally think will happen? Will Ogum put his issues away and return as Kotoko manager, or you think that this is a marriage that has definitely broken down and can't be repaired?
Initially, we were all talking about a coach who had indicated that he was going out of his way to not continue his job. Now it is Kotoko politics. It's now between the management and the board who are on the polar opposite position. Songo is a management member. We heard him yesterday. Dasubere is a management member. We've heard him. Now, Kwamina Mensah, who is the board secretary, has indicated that there's nothing happening. Now, another board member says there's a problem between the CEO and then the coach. So, if Prosper stays, he stays because the board pushed their way through. If he comes back, it is the board and Prosper on one side, and then the CEO and the management on the other side. I'm not worried about what happens to Prosper, whether he goes or he stays. But the Prosper decision conflict management will test the politics at play in Kumasi Asante Kotoko, especially with a slant on Dr. Kwame Chase and his relationship with the CEO Nana Yamposa.
Well, Collins, let's leave it here. It seems like a very messy situation. The more I try to probe, the more it appears the issue is very tangled. So let's leave it here and see if by Monday, I mean, the issue should have cleared up a bit so we can make some sense of everything. But thank you for your time. I appreciate the insights and everything. And big shout outs to everybody in our safe room.
I'm most grateful, Ben. And let's do this again and soon.
Thank you very much, sir.